Alright, Shalom. Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bashim Kakadash Brakathum, to the hopeful elect. Before I get started, I want to give all the praise and the glory and honors to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Racha Kodash, which has given me the spirit and the strength to do this lesson. And I also want to give a double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Bashim Shai. Wa Shalom, wa Barakim to the elect, beginning with 144,000, which is scattered abroad, and in every place, redeemed the time and ready to be saved. Shalom. Alright, what you see here is the people's voice. Alright, and as of late, a law that has been prophesied about or foretold about is coming to fruition. Alright. It says Canadian governor to begin imprisoning Christians who quote hateful Bible passages. Man, you can't make this up, man. You know, this is what the Bible said would happen. All right. This is what Yahweh Shemel Shai said would happen, okay? Via the prophets, okay? Beginning with the apostles of Great Millstone on down, all right? So we don't have that much longer, man. It is definitely a deadline, and we're fastly approaching it, all right? Well, I say a deadline to this ministry. All right. That's why Yahweh Shah said, I must teach why it is today. All right. That's why we must do this work why it is today. Matter of fact, let me get that. It's that in the book of John. It's like it. No, it's in the book of John. Okay. John chapter 9. Alright, this is 9 and 4. It says, this is Yahweh Shah speaking. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. There you go. You see? Let me get this in the NLT. Ooh, look what it. See, NLT be on point sometimes, man. For he said we. He didn't say I. On this one, he said we. All right, because we are laborers with Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, we must quickly carry out the task assigned us by the one who sent us. That's right. You see, this hits like a motherfucker, man. All right, because this is what we're here for. We're not just here on the planet Earth. When I say we, I'm talking about those of us that are teachers, prophets, and apostles. All right, that are actually out here on the front line, all right, being diligent and teaching and studying in these scriptures. All right, we are not just here living and breathing, all right, just occupying the earth. No, we're here because we were sent here to come fulfill a task. All right, that's why we're here. And that task is to, teach the truth and gather the elect with this truth. That's our task. Nothing more, nothing less. All right. He said, I'll read that again. We must quickly, all right, carry out the task assigned us by the one who sent us. Right. Now when you go to what's that? Jeremiah, the first chapter. This is Jeremiah 1:4. It said, Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Alright? Read that again. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. Right? And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Right? So this was happening in the spiritual realm. Alright? You was a spirit in your spiritual form before the throne. Alright? And he gave each and every prophet this task. Okay? You see? So going back to this, John 9:4 says, we must quickly carry out the task assigned us by the one who sent us. Right, because Yahweh Shai, he was the first one that was given the assignment. Alright? That's heavy. It says, the night is coming. And what is the night? Alright, what is the night? Jacob's trouble. When the night is what? When the sun goes down. Alright? It says the night is coming, and then no one can work. You see? So it's a deadline that is approaching fastly. That's why he said we must quickly do this. Alright? So let's go back to this. It says Canadian government to begin imprisoning Christians who quote hateful Bible passages. Alright? And like I said before, the famine of the word will begin in other countries before it hits America. Because you got brothers out there in other countries. Alright? So it's going to affect them before it affects us. And that's being proven. Alright? And I believe you got a brother out there in Canada. It says the Canadian government has warned that Christians who quote Bible passages will be imprisoned under the country's strict rule. Strict rule. Alright? That draconian laws are coming, man. And it's starting in Canada. Not too far from America, as a neighbor of America. What you think is going? You think it's not going to come here? Absolutely. All right. It says the Canadian government has warned that Christians who quote Bible passages will be imprisoned under the country's strict new hate speech laws. Right. It says Canada's Liberal Party has renewed its vow to push through new laws that will outlaw quoting the Holy Bible in public places, right? Including on social media, and that includes YouTube or whatever other platform. All right? You see, this is heavy, man. This is what's going. This is really happening. All right? I said LifeSiteNews.com reports conservative MP Andrew Lawton, one of the bill's most prominent critics, table and petition signed by thousands of Canadians opposing it earlier this month. See it? So I am proud to raise on behalf of Canadians, including my own constituency, who are alarmed by what the government is doing through Bill C9, a bill that they claim will protect communities from hate, but in actuality exposes faith communities to harm from the government for daring to express their faith in the quote religious text. You see? So it said the petitioners are very concerned by this infringement on religious liberty, which were aggravated, of course, by comments from the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture, arguing that there should be prosecution for citing certain religious texts. Allow them to continue. So petitioners are calling on the government to withdraw Bill C/9 and focus on upholding freedom of expression and freedom of religion. So yeah, man, this thing is pretty much is happening. It says right here in Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Romans, there's other passages that clear that there's clear hatred towards, for example, homosexuals. That's right, Miller claimed. I don't understand how the concept of good faith can be invoked if someone were literally invoking a passage from, in this case, the Bible. There are other religious texts that say the same thing and somehow say that this is good faith. So the Bible is, they look, the Bible is being, what's what I'm looking for? Well, you know what, let me finish reading. It said, clearly there are situations in these texts where these statements are hateful, Miller added. They should not be used to invoke, be a defense, and there should perhaps be. So that they showing that hatred towards Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. Or Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai said clearly what? That he comes in the volume of the book. So they showing that hatred towards that. Look, see, it's all coming out, man. They hate Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let me get some precepts. You know, what's that? Revelation 11. Alright, it says, and their dead body shall, this is Romans 11, Revelation 11:8, and their dead body shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. And this is America, right here. It says, where also our Lord was crucified, meaning he's crossed out here. Alright? He's crossed out here. Alright? What's that? Matthew. That's why Yahushua said, the world cannot hate you, but it hateth me. You see? It hated me. That's what Yahushua said. And he's 100%. It was right. And it says right in Matthew 24:9, Yahushua said, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. Alright? Let me do that again. Then shall they deliver you up. Alright, that's being arrested. Okay? When you're delivered up, that's when you're arrested. Alright? To be afflicted. You know? It says, and shall kill you. Yeah, because it's going to lead. And this is serious, man. Some brothers is going to be, you know, unalived for this thing of ours, man. For standing for what we stand for. Alright? It said, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. You see? They hate Yahweh Shai. That's who they truly hate. Yahweh Shai said, he that hateth you hateth me. Alright? I believe that's what he said. Rejected you, rejected me. Roughly paraphrasing it. You see? So that hatred towards the Bible is that hatred toward Yahweh Shai. Read that again. It said, clearly there is a situation in the text where these statements are hateful. Miller added. They should not be used to invoke, be a defense. Right. And there should perhaps be discretion for prosecutors to press charges. So they trying to outlaw do away with the Bible as foretold. All right. I just want to understand what your notion of good faith is in this context, where there are clearly passages in religious texts that are clearly hateful. That's right. And it is. You know, you see, these nations, they know that they're through. They know that the Lord hates them, man. I'm talking about the elites. That's why they want to get rid of it, because they know that this book is not for them. If you knew something was for you, why would you get rid of it? Right? They know that the book is not for them. It speaks against them. It said Miller has denied that he wishes to prohibit certain religious texts, but the government tracks record makes it clear that the liberals cannot be trusted on this file. Right? He said on Tuesday at the Justice Committee meeting that the liberals had done nothing to address the concerns of Canadians, and that their proposed amendment, as per the government's own lawyers, in fact, maintained the status quo. Yep. So you can read that more if you want, but this is the ministry coming to a halt. All right, and like my elder, like the Zaquan, the elder of the Oklahoma branch, GMS Oklahoma branch, said, which made all the sense in the world, is that back then, I wasn't here yet in the truth yet in the ministry. Back then, the elders and the apostles, they used to be out there on the highways and hedges, for hours. All right, but now, it's dwindled down. It's that those times been diminished to like an hour, 30 minutes, or the most 2 hours. All right, think about that. Okay. So yeah, man, Lord Windows edifying until hopefully elect. Until next time I say shalom.